My name is Lawrence Laddie, host of Financial Independence Through Small Multifamily Investing. We meet here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. to help each other financially move ahead. I'm looking to invest in the Piedmont Triad area, looking at Huntsville, Alabama, and also looking at Norfolk market. So without further ado, our guest tonight is the one, the only, right? She helps Daryl out all the time on his meetup on Tuesday mornings. And Alicia's been a mainstay of this meetup. When I first started it, she was here often, right? And we're gonna continue. This is Women, and on this meetup here, this is Women in Real Estate Month, right? And next month also. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Alicia Milton. Thank you for coming, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Lawrence, and welcome in everybody. Thank you so much. I love you all. It always melts my heart. Some people say I have my heart on my sleeve, but so what? That just means I have more people to love. So I'm gonna open up my presentation here. This is the first time I've ever done that. So as we go throughout, if there is an area of where you think I can improve, I will drop my information in the chat for you so that you can send me a little message, because you'll learn about my journey. I'm always about self-improvement and growth, because it's important for me to be able to teach people, especially at the level that they're at, whether they're starting out or whether they are experienced. So I want to make sure that I communicate the information clearly. So I am here to talk about commercial real estate. And as you all know, there's several pieces to that. And I utilize Canva as my presentation, so I didn't see Eleanor's name at the bottom. So that's an oops. So I love comedy. So you'll probably see that throughout this whole thing. Our agenda for this evening is, I have a few points. I'll talk a little bit about me, then the types of commercial properties that are out there. I'll talk about a team, which would be your team. And then I'll share more information about what that is and what to look for. And the question that you should always ask yourself is, are you ready? And so let's go on. So about me, that's my glamour photo. I love that photo. It's probably like 11 years old. It was touched up right. I think my makeup is fabulous. And if you guys don't have a presentation or a marketing photo, make sure you get one and make sure you love it. Because until your hair goes gray, you can use that same photo. So make sure you get it, because you'll need it for your presentations. You'll need it for, as Lawrence knows, your marketing posts. If you have a social media person, you'll need it. So make sure you take your glamour shot and that you like it. This is my husband on the left. Hopefully he's on the left side of the screen, on your screen too. We've been together for what seems like forever. I've known him since I was 9 years old. We grew up in the same neighborhood together, and it was absolutely love at first sight at the age of 9. And we have 3 kids that you can see on the next photo. And as they were growing up, we kept asking each other, like, can you believe? I couldn't even imagine my kids being in love with someone at the age of 9. But it was something about that kid, who is now a handsome young man, as you see. And he supported me so much along the way. So I adore him. He's my partner for life. And then in the middle of this beautiful Christmas morning pajama shot is my mama. She lives with us. Oh man, she's such an angel and a fighter. And me and the kids and my husband truly enjoy her. And that is my family there. I have this shot here because these are my nephews that are in this photo. And you could probably multiply this shot times 3, and that will encompass all of my nieces and nephews. I couldn't find a shot where they were all together, but that was them at my nephew's Sweet 16. I don't know what you call it for boys, but I still call it Sweet 16 birthday party. And so I wanted to share that just so that you can see my family. I am teaching them about commercial real estate because I want to make sure that they get it at a very young age and that they invest now. So I wanted to show you them. I've been in the commercial real estate industry for over 24 years. I started out at the Rose Bowl Stadium leasing luxury suites. Had no idea I would be in real estate as long as I did. I went to school and got my degree in business administration and human resources. So I love working with people. So I always say, you know what? God knew what he was doing. He made sure I knew who I was working with. And so now that I'm in real estate, I know all the multiple personalities a client can have, and I'm able to speak to that personality. And from the Rose Bowl leasing the suites, I moved here to Arizona, where we manage commercial property for a private entity. And then I've also worked with CBRE and Colliers, and I am now with KW Commercial as a broker on that side. Within my commercial history, I have managed about 1 million square feet of commercial property that consisted of all of these types, just about. The only one I haven't managed is multifamily, and I am thankful for that because I'm okay with hiring a third party to manage commercial multifamily property. But I've managed retail, I've managed industrial, I've managed industrial flex property, office, and land. So I had 1 million square feet. It was a handful. I always think someone's playing a joke on me because all the properties that I've managed have come to me with problems. But with problems, you have solutions and you just work through them. So if you guys have challenges on your properties that you're not sure how to figure it out, let me know. I may be able to help you with the solution. So if you're not familiar with the many different types of commercial property, this building right here is a photo of a commercial multifamily apartment building. And because we're on a commercial multifamily or a multifamily meetup, I'm going to assume that you all know all about this particular type of commercial. This particular type of commercial is identified as retail. This is a retail center. You're going to see different types of retail centers throughout the country. This is a larger one. There's also retail centers that look like they're in this type of layout, which is like a shopping center. They even come smaller, which are those retail spots that, you ladies, when you go get your nails done, that's probably a smaller retail center. If it has a major grocery store in it, that's one of your larger retail centers. If it looks like an outdoor mall, that is a retail shopping center. So those are some of the different types of shopping centers that we have. This here is a photo of it inside of an industrial building. Industrial buildings come in many forms. If you guys have noticed, in several areas throughout the country, Amazon has set up different structures. They have large warehouse buildings. Some of them may be refrigerated, which pulls a lot of power. But inside of this building is it's like what most landlords deliver the buildings in, which is a shell building, which is a vanilla shell. And there's usually differences between vanilla shell and gray shell. A gray shell property or when the landlord says they're going to deliver in gray shell, it's a property that may not have this concrete flooring in it. It may be dirt. And what they'll do is they'll build the structure and they'll leave the dirt out, or they'll leave the concrete floor out, because many tenants have to put in their plumbing, their piping, their electrical, different things into the foundation. And if the landlords put the floor in, it's very expensive to break it up and to put all that in. So what you see here is what's called vanilla shell. And when landlords deliver vanilla shell buildings to their tenants, they'll have, the electrical stubbed in, which is in an area in the building where the electrical panels will reside. They'll bring the plumbing, so the plumbing will be underneath the concrete. They'll stub it in, and it'll be in an area, may or may not have a finished restroom. It all depends on what what's negotiated into the deal. This is land property, so commercial land. So this is not too far where I live. I live in Arizona. The city that I live in is Mesa, and this is just east of my city. And you can see down here are the residential communities here. But then we have some commercial property that's along one of our major highways, which is Red Mountain Freeway. And so they're building all along here, which is really cool here in Arizona. I'm sure you guys have heard about Arizona. It's we've been building here like crazy, and people from all over the country and the world have been investing here. It's a beautiful state. We have several, even though we're in the desert, we have several waterfalls. Just a couple of weeks ago, the temperatures where I live was 90 degrees, and we went just about an hour and 20 minutes north, and it was 20 degrees cooler. So it's very different out here. This property here are office buildings. Office buildings are so beautiful to me. They come in many different shapes and forms, but I would never, ever, ever want to manage them again. So that's my little joke for the commercial property managers out there. I've had some buildings that have flooded down at the bottom. In the basement, we've had category 3. And if you want to know what that is, we can hop on a conversation and get to know each other and have tons of stories. But these types of buildings are where you'll have like your large call centers in. You'll have some smaller call centers. You may even have some auto dealerships that want to have their office staff in these types of buildings so that they can have clients come in, do paperwork. There's several different entities. You'll have some financial centers that will have offices in these facilities. And you'll also see now they have co-working properties where they'll have these co-working companies come in, they'll set up a nice area, lounge, different office blocks. They'll even have call center areas where individuals such as ourselves, if we don't want to work at home for our entrepreneurial businesses, we can go and reserve space inside of an office building that has co-working space available. So your team is very important, just as important as it is in multifamily investing. You always want to have a team when you are looking at commercial space. When you're looking at commercial space, you have to ask yourself, do I want to lease space or do I want to purchase space? And it'll be good for you to talk with your attorney, your financial partner, which could be a lender. You always want to have your real estate agent there by your side. A lot of people think that they can do it on their own. That's the hard track, the hard path, if you do it on your own and you're not familiar with what you're doing. The light track is hiring an individual, because most times when you're looking for lease space or when you're looking for to purchase, most times that real estate agent that's investing their time, their talents, their knowledge and experience with you, they get paid by the seller, or they get paid by the landlord. You always have to ask how it's set up, because it works differently with different companies. It works differently in different states. So you always want to ask that question. But regardless of what the fee is, real estate agents can really save you in the end. And then I put the plus sign there because it really depends on your business. If you have an investment business like we do, your team may change a little bit. If you have, let's say, a restaurant business, because I have restaurant clients, it could be your staff. It could be, your chefs, your bartenders, all of those people you want to make sure that you talk with so that you know exactly what you need for your building. So segue into, what are you looking for, right? You'd be surprised, a lot of my clients don't know what they're looking for when they come to me. I work with a lot of small business owners that say, I have a business. For instance, my sister, she's a home baker and she bakes from home, but eventually, because she has several clients, she's going to grow out of her home kitchen. And when she does, she's going to need space. So you're going to need to know what type of business you have. What location is the best for your business? What type of foot traffic or what type of traffic are you going to need for your business? And who are your vendor partners? And so what type of business do you have? If you have a restaurant, if you have a barbershop, which one of my fabulous clients is a barber and we found him a barbershop, you'll want to know let me back up. You'll want to know what's the best location for you. Where are your clients coming from? Are they within your radius of 10 to 15 minutes? If they are, you can essentially find a location anywhere in that radius. How far are your clients willing to drive? That's important to know, because you don't want to lose business by going into a space that your clients aren't willing to drive to. So, some of my clients have clients that won't drive more than half an hour to see them. I'll drive an hour to go see my hairstylist, which don't talk about my hair right now because it's slicked back, but I'll drive a whole hour for my hairstylist and to go get my nails done, because there's just certain people that you trust with, those different services. I only want to drive about 10, 15 minutes to go to a restaurant though, because when you're hungry, you want something, right there, unless it's just a delicacy that you're willing to drive further out to. So you'll need to know that when you do your business. What type of traffic do you need? I am working with some physicians where right now they rely on street traffic. So because they rely on street traffic, they need an office or a building that is near a major highway, a freeway, because they rely on that signage to bring in traffic. If you rely on social media, you may not need a lot of street traffic. So with the medical professional, they're looking for a medical building that has great street traffic, that has sight. But someone that doesn't, like an Amazon facility or someone that deals in machinery and manufacturing, they don't need anything that is in a retail center. They can use something like an industrial building that is not off the main highway. It could be tucked into a corner. It doesn't have to be on a major street. So that's important because there's a cost factor that's related to those two. Retail costs a little more in purchasing and in rent than an industrial building or a flex space. So it's important to know that before you get started. And then also knowing who your vendor partners are. So like the barbershop and the nail salon, they're vendor partners, because if you have a nail salon, whoever is going to get their hair cut or has a hairstylist in their salon, they're most likely going to get their nails done. So those two entities work really well together, which is why many times back when Payless was a thing, you would see Payless, the 99-cent store, and maybe like one of the neighborhood markets all lined up together. And that's because they're vendor partners. And nowadays you'll see a large grocery store chain, you'll see a tool like a Home Depot or something like that. And then you'll see some of the smaller retail centers all together because they're vendor partners. And then lastly, you want to know if you're ready, right? And this is one of the main things that I help a lot of my clients with. They always think they're ready because they're running out of space. But running out of space doesn't mean that you have the financial capacity to take on whatever your overhead is for your business and also your personal, and to cover rent and the overhead that's there. And so I'll give you some examples. Many landlords are looking for tenants to have a year to 2 years, or whatever the terms of their lease agreement is. They're going to want to see that in the bank, or they're going to want to see assets in the bank or in property or somewhere, or a guarantee, which is a co-signer, backing that tenant. Because what landlords do is they're putting in thousands of dollars into a space to create it and get it ready for the tenant. So you always want to make sure that you have your financials in order. They may request 3 months copy of your bank statement. They may request, if you've had any bankruptcies, most likely they'll do a credit check. They'll want to see 1 to 2 years of your last your tax statements. If you work, they're going to want to know if you're going to keep your regular time job. They're going to want to know how much income you think you're going to bring in. So you'll need a pro forma statement if this is a new business, or a profit and loss statement if this is an existing business. So it's important that you have all of those in order before you go out and search for property, because if you don't, finding property, securing property, making offers on property could happen very fast. And it's kind of frowned upon if you're not ready to go when you're going to look for properties, because most folks in real estate on the other side of the coin just feel like their time is being wasted. So you want to make sure that it's not. And so that right there is the end of my presentation. I didn't want to be too long-winded because you may have some questions. That's how you can contact me, Real Estate with Alicia, on all of the social media platforms except for Twitter, because Twitter only allows certain characters. So it's CRE with Alicia, stands for commercial real estate. That's my office line, and that is my email.
Thank you, Alicia, very much. Thank you for that great presentation. I never heard about Gray Shell, Vanilla Shell. That is something.
Yeah.
That's something I'd never heard before. So now, you mentioned a few things here. You said about what are you looking for, right? Mm-hmm. Is it good lease or purchase? What is the difference between what would be a good scenario? Let's say if I'm looking to get a space, right? Like you use an example of your friend who's doing cooking, right? What should she do? How does she figure out how to lease or purchase?
Okay, so if it's a couple of things. So it's my sister. She's a baker. And so bakers usually have low overhead, right?
Mhm.
But if it's their first time going into commercial space and they don't have the financial backing to purchase, like if there's not a need for them to purchase a property, then that's how you kind of know the difference. And it's also based upon preference as well. So for my sister's instance, she wants something that's just, she doesn't have the financial backing for a down payment. She doesn't have it yet for everything that is involved. You have to take care of the building. So it's just like when you purchase your first home. You don't want to purchase a home and not have a savings, because when you purchase that home, I guarantee you something large is going to break down. And if you didn't follow your real estate agent's advice and get a warranty, then it can be very expensive to repair. So, you can do insurance, but if you file an insurance claim, that $500 deductible and they pay $2,000 worth of damage, then your premium goes up. So that's kind of the difference. You want to make sure that you have enough finances to purchase. And when you purchase, you want to make sure that you're going to be there for a while, 10 years, 20 years, something like that. Because if you're not, then I would say don't purchase. However, if you do purchase, when you move out, you can lease the space to someone else, just like you would multifamily.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say thank you again. That was a great presentation. So I have one more question, then open the floor up. Right? You're very humble, but you didn't tell anybody that you're a certified veteran agent. What does that mean?
Yes, I am. So I went through a couple of classes as it relates to working with military veterans. There are several veterans that are not aware of their benefits for purchasing real estate. And so I always encourage veterans, don't just purchase a home, especially if you're starting out. You can only use your VA loan right now. Now, I encourage everybody to contact the VA and say, hey, we should be able to use our VA loan to invest in both residential and commercial. That's my plug there. But right now, you can only invest in residential. And so as you guys know, because you're investors, it's best to use your VA loan to invest in 3 to 4 units, because you have to physically live there in order to have the VA pay for it. And a lot of vets don't know that. They also don't know, which I also learned, is veterans have been taken advantage of. Many people who say that they're helping vets charge them for different services that are free. And so I became certified so that I can get the word out on the services that veterans can use that are free, the different lenders that they can use that will help walk them through the process and be an advocate for them.
Okay. Well, there's a question here, and
Sure.
it's to what you're talking about just now. How long do you need to live in a 3 or 4 unit if you are using your VA loan?
So the VA requires you to live in a property for 1 year. If you are active duty, or if something comes up to where you have to leave before that year, then there are certain exceptions. If you're active duty and you get deployed somewhere, then you have to leave. And so there's documentation that you would provide the VA, and then you'll be fine. Your loan will be fine. If you're in there for a year, what you can do is you can refinance that asset into a conventional loan, because at a certain point you won't have to pay the what is that, the M&I insurance, the mortgage insurance, that goes away. You can roll it into a conventional and then reuse your VA loan for another property.
Are you sure about that? Because I was under the impression that the VA entitlement stays with the property. And so the only way to use it is to sell the property, then you have to do a one-time restoration. Now, there is an
No.
entitlement cap, but if you hold on to that property, that still counts against your VA, even regardless if you refinance it.
It does, and the cap does change, but you can roll that over into another property. And I do have a specialist that you can speak with, Kenneth, that you can speak, a lender that you can speak with to learn more about that. But yeah, you can reuse your VA loan.
Thank you, Alicia.
You're
Anybody else
welcome.
has a question for Alicia? And I know there's questions here.
So are you specific to Arizona, or are you helping people everywhere?
I can help people everywhere, but the help will vary. So my license is hung here in Arizona, but I have real estate partners throughout the world.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Reach out to me if there's a specific area you're looking for. Daryl is in New Jersey, and he specializes in Texas. So he has a lot of contacts there in Texas as well.
Okay. Does anybody else have, there's gotta be some more questions.
Alicia, do you I know you're into real estate and everything, and you're real deep with that commercial. Do you also invest in commercial?
I do invest in commercial. We closed, and if you guys didn't know already, Daryl is one of my partners, one of our ace partners here. We closed on a property at the end of last year in Houston, Texas. So we own 134 units. And we are also under contract with a 24 unit in Dayton, Texas. So if you guys are interested in investing in Dayton, Texas, please reach out. And we are very close to a contract in South Carolina.
All right. Congratulations. I didn't know that part.
Thank you. Yay.
Keeping secrets.
Sorry. I know. I'm not a big person to talk about myself. If you guys want a cheerleader, you call me, because I love cheering for other people.
So Alicia, I want to say, does anybody else have any questions? I got one more. What's the where'd you go, Alicia? Oh, there you go. Okay, it's Cinto. Cinto had a question. Yes, Cinto.
Thanks, Larry. Hi, Alicia. Nice to see you again. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
By the way, you're still lovely today as you were 10, 15 years ago. So, lovely family too. My question is, I know you have love for commercial real estate, but where's all the love for non-commercial? How do you feel about that?
You know, I love residential real estate. I just don't love working on it.
I agree.
I've always been drawn to commercial. I love the buildings, the structure, everything about it. I don't know, maybe weird, maybe I'm a nerd or a geek that way, but that's just me. But what I do love about homes is I love the interior decorating piece of it. But as far as real estate, I have a real estate partner here locally here in Arizona that I work with. So she gets all of my clients that are looking for residential. I love residential too. So if you invest in residential, that's great. I mean, if you've never invested before and you're a little timid about going into commercial, start with residential. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you saw my family, you saw how many people are in our family. Right. And then we also have our church family, which is pretty extensive too. So, and then Daryl keeps me busy, So with all of that, I can't do residential. So I spread the love. And I like the opportunity of scaling up. So, something that's around 16 units, 24 units, you're going to work just as hard on those as you are the 100 units. So I look at it as me personally, don't want to work on just one single family to one single family because it's a lot of work. It's the same.
I
But
know.
the income, so the income you're bringing in from even a 5-unit is more than what you bring in for the single family, unless you're doing Airbnb, that's a whole nother beast. So that's just the way that I look at it. I'm more drawn to commercial than I am residential, but you got to sit down and you got to figure out what you're passionate about, and your why. And I didn't even share my why. I do this because I want to have buildings for each one of my kids. I don't want them to have to work. I think you can agree. All of us may have grown up thinking we had to go work for someone else. My husband and I, we're bringing up our kids to know you can choose your path. If you want to work for someone else, go do it, because there's people that were born to go work for someone else. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. You got to work, but who's a better boss than yourself, right? And the freedom comes when you don't have to work for someone else. So that's one of my main whys. That's my top, the biggest. My husband and I, we also want to be the biggest tither in church. Why do we want to be that way? Because we're supposed to tithe. We're supposed to give. And churches are there to help grow the community and be an inspiration and help people. There's a lot of veterans out here, and there's a lot of youth out here that have been abused, that don't have homes, that are homeless. And we want to be able to join in with our community to buy. I think there's a couple that's in Baltimore. They're buying up Baltimore. They're called Charm City. And when I saw that, I'm like, we could do that here. We can do that here. So nothing's stopping each and every one of you here on this call and those that you're connected with to talk with each other to see how you can do the same thing. If someone else has done it before, you can do it. You just got to be disciplined enough. And like my motto is relentless. I wasn't supposed to be born, but I'm here and I'm healthy. I almost died when I was a teenager. I fell down the stairs with some glasses and cut my arm open. I was 2 centimeters from a major artery. I could have died, but I didn't. I'm still here. There's a reason why I'm here. Bad stuff happens. Bad stuff happened to me, but it's a mindset. You got to do better. You got to get better. Better is here for you. Yes, you're special. Yes, you're important. You got to do it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. If they're not supportive of you, shame on them. But there's better for all of us.
Amen that you're still here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alicia. I read that Ray's not here, but that answers Ray's question. Right?
Oh.
The question was, what is a goal for you in multifamily? So you answered that question very clearly and concisely.
Yes.
Right?
I want to secure 3 multifamily properties before the end of 2022.
Okay, there you go, Ray. There you go. See, he said, there you go. Right?
You're welcome.
Wow. That, I like that. I like that why. That's a great reason why. And the tithing part also is, so it's about give, get. Because you keep on giving and get. You can't keep it if you don't give it.
My bishop said, God pours water down a pipe, right? And so when you guys look at pipes, when the water flows through, after the water has flown through, it's still wet, right? So think of yourself like a pipe. When the money comes through, some of that money gonna stay in your pocket, so you're gonna get wet. You're gonna be blessed as you're blessing someone else. So if you look at it like that, then you won't feel like you're being left behind.
Thank you for that. That's a great perspective. Thank you very much. So I just want to say thank you everybody for coming. We're just going to stop recording. We all gonna have breakout rooms after this. I just want to start the recording. I want to say thank you, Alicia, for coming on and giving us a great presentation. and being very humble as always, and being very transparent. I love the pictures of your family. I know you keep your husband tell him to stay healthy, please.
I
Right?
will.
And appreciate you coming on, taking time for your family to be on financial independence through small multifamily investing. Everybody,
Thank you.
we'll be here next week, same time, same place.